Texans, Jaguars, Sunday. If you heard going into the commercial break, the Jags are 8.5-point favorites per mybookie.ag. That is a large number considering the recent history between these two teams. The Texans have won, incredibly, 9 of 10. 9 of 10. And while they split the season series last year, remember, they went to Jacksonville early on last year, and they won. Now, I think it is very fair to wonder if this extremely banged up Texans team is capable of doing that. I also think it's fair to wonder whether or not we will lead with the Houston Texans should they beat the Jaguars on Sunday, since the Astros are playing the Royals. Assuming everything goes right for the Astros, I think that will be the lead topic on Monday. The Astros having everything go right for them. Or the Astros not having a good weekend. I don't think the Texans are going to bring back anyone's collective interest with anything that they do on Sunday. Even if it's an absolute disaster and there's an injury. Really, the only thing that I think will get us to lead off with the Houston Texans, Sean, on Monday is if CJ Stroud tears his ACL or something like that. God forbid.
Whoa. Why are you even speaking that into existence?
Because there's injuries possibilities, obviously, with the offensive line the way it is at this moment in time.
Yeah. I think either that, an unmentionable, or like 55-3 kind of like whipping. Yeah. Either way, honestly. If the Texans win 55-3, I think we lead off with the Texans.
Yeah.
But
that's really it. They have to win in convincing fashion. Because a win over the Jaguars would be 1-2. It's not that impressive because you've beaten them recently, and the Jaguars are just boring. It's not their fault. They just are, even with Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback. They should be decent this year, the Jaguars. Does that mean good? Like, they should be a 7-10 win team, I think. I don't think they're anything better than that. I don't really like their defense.
Yeah, it's just that 7-10 wins get you in pretty good position to win this division.
Right, which is why, I mean, I'm not saying the Texans are still in it, but they are still in it. With how bad this division is, they're still in it. And I feel like even if they're competitive, people aren't going to care that much.
Any other team that isn't the Texans, but would have the same record in this division, are still in it. But the Texans aren't in it. Texans aren't in it. I guess the Colts are 1-1, so they're in it. They're in the thick of it.
They're right in the thick of it.
Tied for first, I think.
That's true. They are. Without a quarterback and Anthony Richardson, who is hurt. Yeah, 1-1 Titans, 1-1 Jaguars, 1-1 Indianapolis Colts. So going into the year, everyone was, tooting the horn of the Jacksonville Jaguars, specifically because Trevor Lawrence, who threw 4 interceptions in the beginning of a playoff game. Everyone seems to forget that because the Chargers pissed their pants down the stretch. I mean, this is a Jaguars offense that hasn't really done a whole lot of anything after that game. Against the Chiefs, it was a slog. The first 2 games of the year, it's been a slog. This is Trevor Lawrence talking about the struggles of the Jaguars offense to this point of the year.
I think you can use it a little bit for sure. Don't think we played really our best either game against these guys, offensively anyways. Our defense played great both weeks last year against them, but I know offensively we didn't. And just going back, I think me and Josh were talking about early in the week, he's only, myself too, but he's been here longer. Josh Allen, he's only beat him once in his career. So that we know that too. And this team has been a team that, we haven't had much success with. So, of course it's a new season and it's a new year, different. The teams look different, all that. But, you can use definitely some of that as motivation, and we should be coming out ready to play.
It really is the only thing that the Houston Texans have done well. It's that they've played well against the Jaguars, as acknowledged there by Trevor Lawrence. And it's one of the reasons that it's hard to take the Jaguars seriously as a team that sees them on a regular basis, as a fan base that sees them on a regular basis. These are the teams that I think are all more of a Super Bowl threat than the Jacksonville Jaguars. 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles, Sean's Cowboys. Sorry about Trevon Diggs. We'll talk about that later. Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals. I think those are your 8 Super Bowl contenders. And you could argue, if you want, that the Jaguars are in a slightly elevated tier of teams where we're scratching our head. We're not 100% sure if they're good. Lions, Seahawks, Rams, Packers, and sort of the Chargers, but I don't know, with Brandon Staley at this moment in time. And they're above a few that are 2-0 at this point in time, but we think are frauds. The Commanders, the Bucks, the Falcons, and Saints. And that's where the Jaguars are. So this is a winnable game for the Texans, but, of course, I don't trust them at all. Like, I don't know if I'm going to pick the Texans until they outright win a game. I will probably pick, even if the spread is convincingly over the top in Jacksonville's favor for reasons unearned, like 8.5-point favorites at home when you've lost 5 straight against the Texans at home against some really bad teams. Like, that's pretty interesting at the very least, even if these teams and rosters don't have a connection to one to another. But I just can't pick them right now. Like, I feel like last week really burned me, Sean, where I thought for sure they were going to beat the Colts. And yeah, now I'm just, don't get blown out.
Yeah, I also mixed with last week's result and then what's happened during the week this week with more injuries to this team.
Yeah, Derek Stingley.
Yeah, it's hard to it is hard to like pick them. It is hard to like pick them, especially against a team that, like, again, at least made the playoffs last year. It is funny though, like him mentioning that Josh Allen, the defensive end for the Jags, has only beat the Texans once.
Yeah,
he came in 2019. He was drafted in 2019. Like that's such a long time and so many bad Texans years.
Yep.
And so that is really the only thing that the Texans have going for them, I'll say, in this matchup, is that the voodoo, they own the Jacksonville Jags.
Pretty much it.
About it.
That's pretty much it. You're right, Sean. Where's Trevor Lawrence ranking among quarterbacks, too? And this Q rating for Jacksonville, like, Pete Prisco is the one who's pumping their tires. The same guy. I love Pete Prisco, but Pete Prisco once told me that Blaine Gabbert has a lot of Troy Aikman-esque qualities to him. They both blonde?
Yeah, white.
That's 2.
Tall.
Probably right.
Is Troy Aikman from Texas?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if Blaine Gabbert is either.
Oh, is he not one of the, like, Westlake or...
No, I don't think so.
Like
he might be. He might be. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care.
I might be mixing him up with Nick Foles, actually.
Here are the quarterbacks that I would take over Trevor Lawrence right now for Sunday. The elite quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, even banged up Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. He's in this conversation of top 10 quarterbacks with a couple of other guys where you're not really 100% sure where to rank them. He's along with Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. Like, we all think that they're good. With Herbert, it's everyone pumps up his tires, even though there's lots of games where the Chargers falter, and it's never Herbert's fault. Tua, he gets concussed all the time, but it's always Tua's fault when the Dolphins leave. I feel like there is a weird double standard between Tua and Herbert, but whatever. And then you got Trevor Lawrence that's in that same conversation. So I feel like Lawrence is maybe the 8th best quarterback in the NFL. Something around there.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier with, like, some of these guys, like Herbert, where it's like, it sounds crazy to be like, he's the 5th best quarterback or like the 6th, 7th best quarterback in the league. But then once you list them out, you're like, oh. It seems like an aggressive number. It's like in college football, seeing the number next to a team's name, you're like, whoa, what? And you actually like think about it, you're like, yeah, there really are only like 5, like even like Lamar being in that elites list is like, I don't know.
That's personal preference.
Yeah,
for me,
I feel like there's a lot of people that are.
They would argue that he's in that group with them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it is. I mean,
you could argue Jalen Hurts is in that group too. Honestly, if we're really being honest, where it's honestly, if we're being honest, God, Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen are the guys that we like. And hell, you can put Allen down there at tier 2.
He turns the ball over too much. I think part of it's also like we're just so picky with this.
Well, you should be. You should be picky. Like, then you end up with Daniel Jones if you're not picky.
But then you only have 2 teams that are happy with their quarterback.
Well, guess what? Only 2 teams should be happy with their quarterback. Is that an extreme take to have?
Yes,
I don't think it is.
That is an extreme take to have.
No, listen, I'm probably never going to be married because I'm always going to be choosy and picky and whiny. And I mean, who am I? Like a 6.5, 7, like doing all this bitching and moaning. But no, I'm very picky. It's one of the reasons I'm still single. My mom says you're running out of options, but I'm picky with my quarterbacks. At the very least, I would take Lawrence over Dak Prescott, but I think Prescott has a chance to elevate himself back in, amazingly, with Mike McCarthy of all coaches. Ageism is the reason that you're not taking Matt Stafford and Kirk Cousins over Trevor Lawrence.
Stafford might be in the deck. He needs to put it together like another week or 2.
But it's been a nice start for Stafford.
It's been a nice start, and the last time he was healthy, he won the freaking Super Bowl.
That is 100% true. I'm shocked by what I've seen from Stafford because Stafford's a tough SOB. I assumed like there's no way his body can overcome everything that it's gone through the last couple of years. Cousins is in there because he puts up statistics. And then after that, it's like, okay, what you've done for me lately is cool. Sort of like Ryan Tannehill a couple of years ago, Jared Goff and Geno Smith. But also, I'm dubious about their recent success.
But you're right about the ageism with
100%
Stafford, because
they're younger. We'd like them.
You look at the elites, like the top group. It's Mahomes drafted in 2017, Burrow drafted in 2020, Lamar 2018, Allen 2018, Jalen Hurts 2020. Like these are all guys. Mahomes is the oldest of the group, and he redshirted a year.
Yeah.
And then you have Tua and Herbert 2020.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence 21 draft. Like there's just no one who's like in their 30s is good at playing quarterback in the NFL.
That's not good.
What happened? What happened in
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers
2010s? In the 2010s,
Andrew Brees. Yeah, I mean, those were the guys that we just used to see there. And then like the quarterbacks that came in a little bit after them, specifically Rivers, Roethlisberger, and Eli, like their careers didn't go that long comparatively. I mean, Brady's career, obviously.
Yeah, Brady's
ridiculously long career of all time.
But even like so after those guys, though, it's like, I mean, Stafford, I guess, was 08 draft. Cousins was 12. But those are like the only guys from
Cousins being a 12 draft makes me feel old as hell, by the way.
What? Cousins being an 11-year NFL veteran?
Yeah, that makes me feel very old.